Joel Garrett has conducted some research looking at isometric strength, and is there a risk factor with those that are weak and perhaps those that are lower than 0.6 for their flexion, which is when we're pushing down, flexing the neck, compared to extension where you're pushing back. If you're less than 0.6, your flexion to extension strength, are you at a higher risk of having prevalence of concussion injuries? So that's conducted. A lot of AFL clubs are involved in that research. Joel was looking at the 4 different ways that we can look at maximal isometric force capabilities. The test was in seated position to take the variation of using our feet, and it was used against the strain gauge using the Volt equipment, where you're wearing a harness around the neck and you're maximally pushing up against it in those 4 different planes: flexion, extension, and lateral flexion, left to right. And that's ultimately just looking at how stiff and how strong is our neck, and therefore how stable is it to be able to handle high forces, particularly in a game like AFL. In terms of the art of it, using coach instinct, so learning off experts like Brian Mann, who's done his PhD in concussion. So tackle technique, it would be silly not to factor in the fact that if you can be as strong as possible in all 4 of those planes of isometric strength, but if you keep putting your head in the wrong position while tackling an opponent, clearly you're at risk. So tackle technique, you can't ignore that, the importance of that. Developing wrestle and functional neck strength, so actually resisting against an opponent, someone who's trying to rip you to the ground, and doing wrestle combat sessions, no doubt will build robustness through the whole shoulder girdle, neck, and trunk core strength. So absolutely, if you have your chance in the off season to do some off season accessory work, and you had either you're weak in these areas or you find yourself constantly getting head injuries and a couple of concussions over your career, it might be a good idea to get some extra work in with a combat coach. And the other aspect of it is understanding that if you're anxious with concussion or any level of contact, perhaps that could put you at a higher risk. Speaking to experienced coaches, it seems like those that aren't confident in the contact tend to get more, and that's more just a coach's instinct, but something for us to take into account anyway for those that might need extra work on building their contact confidence, whether that be getting stronger in the gym or perhaps just getting stronger with their contact work. The 14-day protocol. So typically in the AFL, day 0 is when they're injured in the game or at training, to day 2. So day 1 and day 2 is complete rest. So we want to make sure they're symptom-free in normal daily living before progressing them from a physical point of view. Day 3 is where they introduce some aerobic activities, whether if they have no issue being on the bike, but if that's uncomfortable for their back or their neck from the contact, then just getting them go for a walk. So it's a talking pace aerobic activity. To progress each of these stages, they need to be symptom-free and they need to be progressed from the doctor. Day 4, that's where we'll introduce running. So it's 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps of a 60-meter run, 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off, work to rest ratio 1-to-1, pretty easy for AFL athletes. Give them 3 minutes rest in between. That's day 4. So day 5, we're now progressing the speed of their running, as well as introducing stationary skills and some agility and some basic body weight strength. Some nutrition to support brain health. Obviously, you want to consult a sports dietitian, but here's just some general tips. So from a repair point of view, omega-3 magnesium. From an energy perspective, creatine, curcumin, but basically some anti-inflammatory and ketones. You want to reduce cell damage, also with curcumin as well as omega-3, vitamin A and E, and then melatonin and ketones. For inflammation, omega-3, turmeric or curcumin, melatonin and magnesium, and then for improved sleep quality, melatonin, magnesium. So there's some supplementary things that you could do to help with the repair and rejuvenation, as well as the ability to handle the different stresses that the athlete's been put on during that protocol.